It's not about spiritual bypassing, very much not. If you take the example of yoga, if you have a yoga practice or any kind of psycho-spiritual practice, I'm always struck because I'm a yoga therapist as well, watching people when I'm teaching, doing it myself. I know that I can be going through an emotional roller coaster and look very serene. I also know that feeling all the feelings, allowing what's coming up for healing to come up is so, so powerful. This is not about pretending super, awe, pride, joy, all the things, love. It's about really connecting with all your parts and knowing that there's so much more to you than all of the angst, everything you've survived, everything you're worried about, challenges you might be facing, being able to connect with that more than, but also recognizing the reality, recognizing what is. You're listening to Souls to Soul Care for Trauma and AuDHD with Eve Menezes Cunningham. It used to be the Feel Better Everyday podcast, and I'm still getting used to the rebrand after so long. Here's Little Navy, and it feels appropriate for today's episode where I'm introducing a fourth state. So I've been working with polyvagal theory since I learnt about it in 2011. And from 2013, when I adopted Rainbow Magnificat, I started using her to help me with my own inner critic, with my own healing of my nervous system and trauma recovery. And then as the other cats came into the picture and I learnt more and more, did more and more training, got more and more experience, saw just how effective all these ways of working are with clients. I've been presenting on it. I've written about it in like kind of journals. I love being paid to find pictures of the rescue cats to illustrate quite a heavy theory, and it really does help people understand it better. But more recently, I've added a fourth. So Deb Dana, who made polyvagal theory so much more accessible, it's Stephen Porges's baby, and she made it more accessible to clinicians, and she does phenomenal work. And she talks about super ventral. So I talk about for ventral vagal, I call it purr because in an ideal world we have that feeling of safety and connection. We're like a cat at ease, able to purr, enjoy life. We're curious, we're happy, we're it's safe to connect and life feels good. It's all purry. That doesn't mean cats aren't able to change their state just as we do. We're not in ventral vagal or what I call purr the whole time, but the more we can have that curiosity, that compassion, whatever's going on around us, whatever's going on inside us, the better for our overall well-being. And hiss is what I call the sympathetic survival response, that stress response. So when we feel under threat, when we feel disconnected from people, when we act out, we might fight, we might flee. These are all adaptive survival responses, nothing wrong with it. But in an ideal world, if we can't even find compassion for ourselves, Deb Dana says even one drop of curiosity is all we need, and beginning to think what might help you, what might get you back into that purr, that ventral vagal. And then we have the dorsal vagal, what I call freeze, where the system is overwhelmed and we're in collapse. We might be numbing, we might be dissociating, we might be indulging in habits that enable us to numb, but it's feeling hopeless, it's feeling overwhelmed, it's not a happy, joyful place to be by any stretch. And I go into all of these stages, all of these states in episode 48. So if you want to listen to that, but just for yourself, just getting a sense of like, I encourage people to find their own names for them. It's just per his freeze helps because it is easier to remember for most people than ventral vagal, sympathetic survival, and dorsal vagal. But the key is remembering your nervous system is never wrong. Your nervous system has kept you alive. It's kept you safe. It's helped you deal with whatever you've had to survive. They're all adaptive survival responses. Someone who has grown up knowing that it's safe to connect with others is at an advantage. It's like I heard some person say, growing up with parents with regulated nervous systems is like growing up with millionaires for parents, and it kind of is. But at the same time, whatever age you are, wherever you are, we can begin to heal it. Um, Today, I want to introduce what I'm calling SuPURR. So that's SU with a dash and then Purr, and it's for Deb Dana's super ventral. And it's where we bring in the more than the person, the more than the spiritual, the transpersonal, and the thinking of the kind of things you can do to make it more likely that you'll be able to connect with this amazing energy, which of course helps us be more in ventral vagal, more in that purr. So for the feel part of the framework, that's the like lowercase s self-care, the regulatory things we can do. Just think about things you can physically do when you have the bandwidth to bring you into super or super ventral. So it might be taking yourself to the beach or to the ocean or to a mountain or to a forest or some kind of nature that feeds your soul, that helps you feel. It might be taking yourself down the driveway to watch a sunset or sunrise. It might be taking yourself to a gallery to view some art that touches your soul. It might be taking yourself to a concert or um, whatever it is. Think about the kind of things that help you get beyond per. It might take more energy, and the more you can do, the more you can connect with this, the more you can fill your environment with things that promote you remembering. Nature is wonderful for so many people, but it's not limited to nature. It can be, I'm going back at time of recording, I'm planning my first trip back to London in, it will be 2 years. And the idea of seeing some of the architecture, some of the art, obviously people, loved ones will be amazing. But whatever brings you awe, whatever inspires you, whatever helps you connect with that, wow, can't believe maybe you did something incredible, or it might be like a seventh wonder of the world, or it might be an amazing piece of art by someone else, or it might be thinking about an incredible feat that someone has survived or endured, or like a new creation. Just think about what helps you connect with that super beyond energy, when you have the bandwidth to do that regulatory self-care. When it comes to the love part of the framework, the Feel, Love, Heal framework I developed, let yourself just be. Remind yourself that you don't have to go outward at all. You can go inward. You can connect with the divinity within yourself, just as cats don't need reminders of their divinity, of their magnificence. You have that within you. You don't need to change a thing. You don't need to be striving or doing or producing or anything. You can just be and marvel at your body, for example. Like, even if you're not happy with your body, your poor body has probably been through so much criticism because we live in a world where so much judgment is placed on these bodies that carry our souls through our entire lives. But if you think about what's going on, like we're talking about nervous system regulation, we're talking about healing the nervous system, you think about all the automated processes that we don't even have to think about, all the amazing miracles happening in your body every day. Just accepting how incredible it is to be alive. And even now in these challenging times, let yourself appreciate it. Moving to the heal part, that collective care. So the love part, the acceptance, the love, the support, um, The heal part is more collective care. So the love part is that connection with that self, that uppercase S, the part of you that is like much more than the spirit, the highest self, that highest, wisest, truest, most joyful, brilliant, miraculous part of yourself. So the love part is really just like what helps you connect with yourself. How can you make that a bigger part of your life? And then the heal part is the collective care, the co-regulation. It might be that joining a circle I do monthly. I'm moving it from the waning half moon to the full moon, but every month a small circle, which it's really enriching my life, and I'm getting lovely feedback from the participants. But there might be something similar near you. It could be joining some sort of group that enjoys going to galleries or going on walks in nature or creating music of your own or anything like that. Just give yourself permission to think what gets you into that super stage, and know that awe is one of the positive emotions that when we feel it, we're creating DHEA. I wrote about it in the book. But DHEA is a natural performance enhancing hormone, and feeling good, feeling that sense of awe, that incredible love, pride, hope, all these really positive emotions, they help us reduce the impact of stress on the system, because when we're creating DHEA, it makes it impossible to create cortisol for a few hours. And it also just feels amazing. So the more you can do, like we're living in very challenging times. For me, one of the things that helps is really focusing not on the destruction and the horror and the things that very quickly send me into dorsal vagal freeze, but instead really seeking out feeds and stories of activists and amazing people who are incredible and just fill my heart and just give me hope. And they are beyond, like, it's awful what people are having to survive and endure. But by focusing on the amazing people doing amazing things and recognizing that the majority of people do mean well, and let me know what works for you. So thank you for listening. I'm your host and producer, Eve Menezes Cunningham. You can find links, full transcripts, more information in the show notes at soulstosoul.ie. And I'm looking more forward to sharing more next week. We'll be looking at the divine feminine and what it means to me. And before you go now, think about SuPURR, or that super ventral, and scan your body, your energy, your thoughts, your emotions, your soul, your spirit. Just scan yourself from the soles of your feet to your soul, and just make some notes about some of the things that might be calling to you. Spend a few minutes journaling if you want to, or just make a few notes, or pick one prominent feeling. I'd love if you want to let me know what that is for you, how you're going to connect with that super energy this week and moving forward. You can email Eve at soulstosoul.ie. So that's SOLES, as in the soles of your feet, to soul as in your soul, and .ie for Ireland. Looking forward to sharing more next week.